What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping into Jean Grey issue number 2. Jean Grey is an Omega level mutant, a telepath, a founding member of the X-Men, referred to as Marvel Girl both in the past and now in present day. She has fought alongside her fellow mutants and humanity. She has been the host for the dangerous cosmic entity known as the Phoenix Force. Eventually, she regained her place among the X-Men, most recently being a member of the Quiet Council. But when the fall of X began, Emma Frost had been killed. Though this isn't Jean Grey's first dance with death, her body might be gone, but her powerful mind remains, wandering through her past, exploring what was and what could have been. So make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up with our girl Jean Grey. She thinks back to that day, their space shuttle with the X-Men on board. They are re-entering Earth's atmosphere, but they get hit with approaching solar flare. This would have killed anybody that was unprotected. Luckily for them, they had a shielded room, a containment room. They all felt safe inside, but when shrapnel had damaged the shuttle's autopilot, if the rest of them were to survive, one of them had to face certain death. They had to manually pilot the ship. And this story, it originally goes that Jean Grey is the one to go out there. She pulls rank on Wolverine. She attacked Scott with a psychic blast. She ensured that she would be the one to go out there. She piloted that ship down, and when it crashed, emerged the Phoenix. From the ashes, she flew out. None of them knew that she was possessed by a symbiotic power, one that drew on passion. This would thrive in the darkest corners of her soul and revel in destruction. But that was only the first encounter. Now Jean Grey, she goes back to that moment, and she sees what might have happened if she had let somebody else take over. On the space shuttle, as they careen right down to Earth, Wolverine, one of the newest members on the team, he is the one to step up. And though at first she is unwilling to do so, she says okay. Wolverine takes the cockpit, while the rest of them settle down in the shielded compartment. He opens up his mind to Jean Grey, that way she can direct him in the right way. She can see through his eyes, the dials, the controls, the approaching Earth. And then the flare hits. With Scott believing that they are gonna die, he says that he loves her. In front of everybody, he kisses her, but she pushes herself away. She must focus fully on Wolverine. She needs to focus on keeping him alive, which will keep all of them alive. As the shuttle begins to break up, Jean does what she can to hold it all together. But being in the mind of Logan, she learns that his name is in fact Logan, his life flashing before her eyes. As the radiation intensifies, his healing factor struggling to repair as it is ravaged. She sees the man that he was before his powers became to be. She sees the claws, but they weren't adamantium, not yet. Then she sees military service, World War I, World War II. Now she wonders, how old is he? As she goes further, she reaches a blank. She reaches a wall that not even she can push through. The radiation is more than his healing factor can handle. She is losing him, but she refuses to let this happen. She grabs hold of his mind and pushes. She is able to break through the mind, shattering it. This reveals everything. The trauma buried deep down within inside, a secret research facility in Canada, Weapon X, Logan a prisoner, mad scientists torturing him, bonding his bone to adamantium, and then escape. Anger, destruction, and courage. He came to them looking for a safe haven, and he didn't even know that he needed one. He didn't trust the X-Men, and who can blame him? After everything that he has endured, how could he ever trust anybody again? By some kind of miracle, he had trusted her, to let her into his mind. He was willing to die for all of them, especially her. As the shuttle lands on the water, everybody comes out alive. Wondering where Wolverine might be, this is where we see him come out of the water. But Wolverine is not alone. The Phoenix Force has bonded to him. We see the spikes start protruding out of all parts of his body. The Phoenix has risen, and it takes the form of Wolverine. Now having all of his memories back, he is going to make those that hurt him pay. He is headed to Canada. And when all the X-Men get back to the mansion, Xavier talks on everything about what happened, how they're gonna go into hiding, but he doesn't mention Wolverine for a second. They don't know what happened to him. They saw the spikes sprouting out of his body and Wolverine flew. How could he possibly fly? All of these things Jean Grey thinks about, and she knows that she has to go help him. She has an idea of where he might have gone. Cyclops decides to join with her. As they arrive at the facility, the people who put adamantium in his bones, they tried to turn him into an inhuman, anti-mutant killing machine. And while Scott goes on his whole little tangent, really just being a jealous, not even boyfriend at the time, Jean says that all of this is tied to American Dark Ops, Trask and his Sentinels, other anti-mutant fascists, hate groups around the world. When Logan escaped, he had killed the leaders, but that didn't stop them. Now Jean is believing that Professor X knew about this. Maybe that's why he recruited Logan in the first place. But all of that went sideways when Logan transformed. As they peer inside the facility, they see that Logan, he was just the first. There are many other individuals that are stuck in vats. These madmen are creating an anti-mutant army. As they get inside, we see that Wolverine is just laying down the hate. The bullets hit and they burst into flame. There is no stopping him. We see that Wolverine is able to shoot spikes out of his body like projectiles. Adamantium metal spikes, and it is absolutely decimating all of the forces that are here. Wolverine doesn't even see Jean or Cyclops. He has gone full Berserker and he is just decimating these ranks, completely annihilating anybody that steps in his way. An absolute bloodbath. And Jean is unable to touch his mind. The Phoenix Force is protecting it, but Jean does what she can to reach out. Just in the nick of time, he is able to stop. Jean is able to reach him, telling Jean that he was so worried he might have hurt her. What she doesn't understand is that he can't stop himself. He doesn't want to stop. He begs for them to kill him. That if you can, kill me now. Jean trying to reason with him. This is when Cyclops uses his blast, but the Phoenix Force stops it. With Wolverine's mission fulfilled, the Phoenix leaves Wolverine and it goes for a different host. Someone passionate, hungry, desperate for what is. That is when the Phoenix Force goes into Cyclops. His visor completely destroyed. This is when he gazes upon Jean. This is not a being of logic. It thrives on feeling, on Cyclops' feelings for Jean. It needs, it loves, and it wants. He doesn't want to be used by the Phoenix Force, and so he begs Jean to kill him. She says that she can't. She won't. She goes in to kiss him, and that is when Wolverine's claws go right through the back of the head of Cyclops. Wolverine knows that he can't win. There is only one way to win, and that is through death. This is when the Phoenix Force, it burns Wolverine alive, and Jean Grey can do nothing but watch. With her seeing enough of this, Wolverine seemed like the logical choice. He could survive the radiation, even survive the impact, but he couldn't survive the Phoenix. Not him, not even Scott. In her reality, she steered the shuttle. She called for help and she let the Phoenix have her. That's not where things went wrong. But if it's not then, she is wondering, then where? And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is pretty unique. So the first time that we see the Phoenix Force, Jean Grey, she doesn't take it over. Or the Phoenix Force doesn't take her over, I should say. Instead, we see a scenario where Wolverine becomes the Phoenix. A scenario where Wolverine finishes his mission and then the Phoenix moves on to Cyclops. The truth is, neither of them would have ever been able to control it. I think if anything, this shows a testament of how far the Phoenix Force has fallen from what it once was to what it is today. that Jean Grey is probably one of the few, if not the only person that can actually handle the power that is the Phoenix Force. And so seeing it today in the likes of Echo and you know, everything else that has been going on with the Phoenix Force, it's really a testament to how far writers have had the Phoenix Force fall. From a force that is so powerful that not even someone like Wolverine or Cyclops could even dream of harnessing it and being able to lasso it. Yet in today's day and age, we have someone like Echo who very easily has control of the Phoenix Force. I get writers wanted to make something of their own, but man, if this issue says anything, it says that Jean Grey was the only one to ever be able to truly have anything to do with the Phoenix Force. She was the only one that could really take it in and have some kind of control. Now, eventually we see her become Dark Phoenix, so on and so forth. But she is the only one that couldn't get ripped apart almost instantaneously. Everybody else that took on the Phoenix Force, they begged for death. They begged to be killed, to get rid of this thing. I really hope one day the Phoenix Force gets back to exactly what we just saw, because the version of the Phoenix Force that we have in today's age of comics, it is a severe disappointment in comparison to what we just saw. But Jean Grey has been trying to figure out where things went wrong. This was obviously not that moment, and so now she digs deeper, and hopefully soon, the world will have Jean Grey back, and the fall of X will become the rise of X. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that has been going on with Jean Grey, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It will get you completely caught up on everything that is going on with this series. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.